Hey everyone, welcome to a deep dive that's going to be all about you.
Or at least the best possible version of you.
Exactly.
We're talking all about personal development today.
Which is, as you guys know, way more than just trendy life hacks.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This is about, like, rewiring your thinking, really.
Absolutely.
And you guys sent in some really interesting sources on this.
Yeah, some good stuff.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what kind of gems we uncover today.
Yeah, it's a huge topic.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about rewiring our thinking, boosting productivity, and maybe even, like, impacting the world around us, you know?
Exactly. And we're going to be looking at the science behind, like, peak performance.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at ancient mindfulness techniques.
Right.
And even some inspiring personal stories.
Yeah, some really cool stuff.
But first, I think it's so fascinating that this whole personal development thing, it's not some new fad.
Right.
Like, didn't Aristotle talk about self-improvement?
Oh, absolutely. The ancient Greeks were all about striving for what they called eudaimonia,
Okay.
which is basically a life of fulfillment and virtue.
Wow.
And then way before the whole modern self-help boom, you know,
Yeah.
Buddhist traditions going back centuries BCE,
Okay.
really emphasized mindfulness and self-awareness as like paths to enlightenment.
So, know thyself is like,
Right.
that's ancient wisdom.
Oh, it is.
It's not just a
Indeed.
catchy Instagram quote.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's a really core idea
Okay.
that runs through the entire history of this whole self-improvement movement.
That's so interesting.
Now, 20th century,
Yeah.
you saw this huge surge in self-help literature with books that are still super relevant today.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, take Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we all know that one's a classic.
Right.
But what made it such a game changer back then?
You know, I think Carnegie really tapped into something super fundamental
Okay.
about, like, human psychology. You know, his emphasis on genuine appreciation, for example.
Okay.
It goes way beyond just being polite.
Right.
Like, he understood that people crave connection and validation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's as relevant today as it was, like, almost a century ago.
That makes a lot of sense. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, and then a few decades later, you had Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Right. Right.
Which popularized those principles, like, begin with the end in mind.
Yeah.
His focus on proactive habits and personal accountability really resonated with readers.
It's crazy how those ideas like became so ingrained in our culture.
It is.
40 million copies sold.
It's amazing.
That's incredible.
It makes you think about how those principles have, like, held up over time.
Yeah, for sure.
They definitely evolved, especially with the rise of technology.
Uh-huh.
You know, think about apps like Headspace and Calm.
Right.
They made meditation, something that was once practiced, like, mainly in monasteries, accessible to millions of people.
Yeah. That's a huge shift.
It is.
It's like democratizing these practices,
Right.
making them available to anyone with a smartphone.
Right. And it highlights the growing recognition that personal development
Yeah.
isn't some kind of exclusive club, you know?
Yeah.
It's for everyone.
It is.
But it always comes back to that ancient wisdom, know thyself. Like, understanding ourselves, our strengths, our weaknesses, our values. That's the foundation for any meaningful growth.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've established people in pondering this whole self-improvement thing for centuries.
Yeah.
But let's get practical.
Yeah.
You know, when we talk about productivity today,
Yeah.
what does that even mean?
Right.
Because it's so easy to get like sucked into that whole hustle culture mentality
Totally.
where it's just like, go push yourself to the limit, even burnout.
Yeah. No, the sources you sent in, they actually really emphasize sustainable focus.
Okay.
Not just like mindless busyness.
Right.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
Okay.
And like aligning our efforts with our natural rhythms.
That sounds way more sustainable for sure.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So what are some of those like science-backed strategies for productivity that you found in there?
One classic is the Eisenhower matrix.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
I have. Yeah.
It basically helps you prioritize tasks based not just on urgency,
Mm-hmm.
but also importance.
Okay.
Because so often we just react to whatever's like screaming the loudest.
Right.
But this matrix helps us step back and focus on what truly matters in the long run.
So it's about getting the right things done, not just getting things done.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see how that would make a huge difference.
Yeah. And then there's the Pomodoro technique,
Oh, yeah.
where you work in these focused 25-minute sprints
Okay.
with like short breaks built in.
Okay.
And it's designed to align with our natural attention spans
Yeah.
and help prevent burnout.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh.
But how do you prevent those breaks from turning into distractions?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I know.
That's where mindfulness comes in.
Right.
Even a few minutes of conscious breathing can really help you reset and refocus. Okay.
And speaking of focus, the research also highlights the importance of a digital detox.
Oh, yeah.
One Stanford study found that multitasking actually reduces productivity by a whopping 40%.
Ouch, 40%. That's a hit I'm sure we've all felt.
I know.
I know I've tried to answer emails while writing, and it
Yeah.
never ends well.
It does not.
But what about those, like, more extreme productivity hacks?
Uh-huh.
Like Elon Musk's time blocking, where he schedules every 5 minutes of his day.
I know Musk's approach is fascinating.
Yeah,
And clearly works for him.
it does.
But it's not for everyone.
Right.
The key is finding what resonates with you and your individual goals.
Okay.
Some people thrive on structure, others need more flexibility.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot.
Exactly.
Not pushing ourselves to the point of exhaustion, but also not letting things slip through the cracks.
Exactly. And I think this brings us to a really crucial point.
Okay.
We can't talk about productivity
Yeah.
without acknowledging the importance of mental well-being. That's so true, because what's the point of achieving all these goals if you're completely burnt out in the process?
Right.
And the reality is mental health challenges are far more common than we might think.
You're absolutely right. The World Health Organization estimates that 1 in 4 people globally
Wow.
will face a mental health issue at some point in their lives.
That's huge statistic.
It is. It's staggering.
It is for sure.
But there's good news, too.
Okay.
There have been some incredible breakthroughs in the field of psychology and therapy over the years.
Well, that's encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
So what are some of the most impactful developments that you came across?
One that really stands out is CBT,
Okay, CBC.
a cognitive behavioral therapy,
Okay.
which emerged in the 1960s.
Yep.
It focuses on identifying and changing negative thought patterns and behaviors.
Okay.
And studies show it can be up to 75% effective in treating anxiety.
Wow, 75%. That's incredible.
Mm.
Are there other therapeutic approaches that have shown similar promise?
Yes, definitely another one that's been really helpful is DBT,
DBT.
dialectical behavior therapy, which was developed in the 1990s.
Great.
It's especially effective for individuals struggling with borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
It helps them regulate emotions and develop healthier coping mechanisms.
These therapies sound really powerful,
Yeah.
but sometimes it helps to hear about real people who have benefited from them.
Right.
Did you find any personal stories in the research?
Oh, absolutely.
Because I find those are often what really bring these concepts to life.
Yeah, one that stands out is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay, yeah.
He's been very open about his struggles with depression,
Right.
and he credits therapy and the practice of gratitude journaling
Okay.
with helping him navigate those challenges.
It's so inspiring to hear that even someone as seemingly invincible as The Rock
Right.
has faced mental health challenges.
Yeah, it makes it feel more relatable.
Yeah, for sure, and less isolating.
Exactly. Mental health doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
Another story that resonated with me was Sarah's.
Okay.
She's a teacher from Texas who battled PTSD, and through CBT, she was able to overcome her trauma and develop coping mechanisms.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's amazing how therapy can equip people with the tools they need to heal and thrive.
It is.
And Sarah's story brings up another interesting point.
Yeah.
This idea of using a personal mantra to stay motivated.
Uh-huh.
Hers was, healing isn't linear,
I love that.
which I think is so powerful because it reminds us that personal growth
Yeah.
is a journey, not a destination.
Totally.
There will be ups and downs,
Yeah.
but it's the overall direction that matters.
That's a great insight. And speaking of journeys,
Okay,
let's shift gears and explore the world of mindfulness and yoga.
I'm ready.
These ancient practices have become so relevant in our modern lives,
Yeah.
offering really powerful tools for navigating stress,
Wow.
finding balance,
Yeah.
connecting with our inner selves.
I think there's this misconception that mindfulness is this new age trend.
Yeah,
But you mentioned earlier it has roots going back thousands of years.
it does. We're talking 5,000-year-old science.
Yeah. 5,000 years. That's mind-blowing.
It's not just a passing fad.
Oh, wow. Okay, so where do those ancient roots lie?
Well, we can trace them back to practices like Vipassana meditation,
Okay.
which originated in India around 500 BCE.
Okay.
It's all about cultivating awareness of the present moment
Okay.
by focusing on the breath and bodily sensations.
So it's about being present rather than getting lost in thoughts about the past or worries about the future.
Exactly. And that core principle has resonated across cultures and centuries.
Yeah.
In the late 1970s, John Kabat-Zinn,
Okay.
a professor at the University of Massachusetts Medical School, developed the Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Program, or MBSR.
MBSR, okay.
And he brought these ancient mindfulness techniques into a Western medical setting,
Wow.
bridging the gap between spirituality and science.
So it's no longer seen as just like a philosophical concept,
Right.
but now backed by scientific research and being integrated into healthcare.
Exactly. And the research is compelling. For example, a 2020 Harvard study found that just 8 weeks of mindfulness meditation can actually shrink the amygdala.
Hold on. Mindfulness can physically change our brains.
It can.
I knew it had benefits, but that's incredible. What other research have you come across?
Well, there's a lot of research on yoga, which is closely intertwined with mindfulness.
Right.
The NIH has found that it can reduce chronic pain by up to 30%.
Yoga is another practice that seems to be everywhere these days.
It is.
But it's not just about like fancy poses and trendy workout gear, right?
No, not at all. Yoga is an ancient Indian practice
Okay.
that involves physical postures, breath work, and meditation.
Okay.
It's a holistic system designed to create harmony between the body, mind, and spirit.
So it's more than just a physical workout. It's a way to cultivate like mental and emotional well-being as well.
Absolutely. And it's a practice that's accessible to people of all ages and fitness levels.
Right?
There are various styles of yoga.
Right?
But at its core, it's about connecting with your inner self and finding a sense of balance.
Okay. I'm convinced I need to incorporate some of these mindfulness techniques into my life. Any tips for beginners?
Well, one simple technique you can try right now is called box breathing.
Box breathing. Okay.
It's a powerful breathing exercise that can calm the nervous system and reduce anxiety.
You mentioned this technique is used by Navy SEALs,
They do.
which I can see how controlling your breath would be super helpful in like high pressure situations.
Yeah,
But is it really something that anyone can benefit from?
absolutely. It's surprisingly simple but incredibly effective.
Okay.
You inhale slowly for a count of 4,
Okay.
hold your breath for 4, exhale slowly for 4, and then hold for 4.
Got it.
And you repeat this cycle for a few minutes, focusing your attention on your breath.
Okay.
It's a great way to center yourself and calm your mind, whether you're facing a stressful deadline or just need a moment of peace.
If it works for Navy SEALs, it's definitely worth a try.
It is.
You know, as we've been talking about all these practices,
Yeah.
it's making me think about all the like inspiring stories of people who've overcome incredible challenges.
Yeah.
Did any particular stories jump out at you from the research?
Yes, several come to mind. One that really resonated with me is Temple Grandin's story.
Okay.
She's an autistic woman who has become a world-renowned expert in animal science.
Wow.
She's revolutionized the way we design livestock facilities, making them more humane and less stressful for animals.
That's incredible. Her story is a testament to the power of neurodiversity
Yes,
and the unique contributions that people with different perspectives can make.
absolutely. It challenges our assumptions about what's possible and reminds us to embrace our differences.
Yeah, for sure. And there's Lady Gaga,
Yes.
who's been very open about her struggles with PTSD
Yeah,
stemming from past trauma.
right.
And she's become like this powerful advocate for mental health awareness
She has.
and a vocal supporter of trauma-focused therapy.
Yes.
It's so inspiring when people in the public eye share their vulnerabilities like that,
Yes.
because it helps to break down the stigma and encourage others to seek help.
Definitely. And it shows that even those who seem to have it all can struggle. Another story that really moved me was Raja's.
Okay.
He's an entrepreneur from Mumbai who shared his journey of battling alcoholism
Okay.
and finding solace in Vipassana meditation.
It sounds like he found a really powerful path to healing.
He did.
What was it about Vipassana that resonated with him?
You know, he was drawn to the practice's emphasis on silence and self-reflection.
Okay.
He said, "Silence taught me to face my demons,"
Wow.
which I think is such a profound statement.
Yeah.
It speaks to the power of stillness and introspection in confronting our inner struggles.
It's amazing how these different paths to self-discovery can lead to such like profound personal growth.
It is.
It makes me wonder about the broader impact of all of this. You know, if we're all working on ourselves,
Yeah.
does that ripple out and create positive change in the world?
That's a great question, and one that I think lies at the heart of this whole exploration.
Yeah.
It's not just about individual transformation, it's about the potential for collective upliftment.
So it's like that idea that we can't truly change the world until we change ourselves.
Exactly. History is full of examples of individuals whose personal growth and commitment to certain principles
Yeah.
led to wider societal change.
Right.
Think about Gandhi.
Yeah.
His philosophy of nonviolent resistance was rooted in his deep personal convictions and spiritual practices.
Yeah.
And his leadership inspired millions and ultimately led to India's independence.
That's an incredible example of how individual transformation can, like, spark a movement
Yeah.
and reshape the course of history.
Are there any modern examples of this ripple effect?
I'm sure there are.
Absolutely. In recent years, we've seen a growing trend of companies incorporating mindfulness and emotional intelligence training into their workplaces.
Oh,
For
interesting.
example, Google developed a program called Search Inside Yourself,
Search inside yourself.
which focuses on cultivating mindfulness, self-awareness, and empathy.
So it's not just about, like, boosting productivity. It's about creating a more compassionate and collaborative work environment.
Right, and the data supports this approach. A 2023 study from the University of Pennsylvania
Okay.
found that workplaces with mindfulness programs
Yeah.
saw a 20% increase in productivity and a 30% decrease in employee turnover.
Wow. Those are impressive results.
We are.
It seems like investing in employee well-being is not only the right thing to do, but it also makes good business sense.
It does. Are there other examples of this ripple effect outside of the corporate world?
Oh, I'm sure there are, yeah.
Definitely, there are countless grassroots organizations and community initiatives using mindfulness and personal development principles to create positive change.
Okay.
For instance, in Rwanda, post-genocide healing circles use mindfulness and storytelling
Wow.
to rebuild trust and foster reconciliation within communities.
That's so moving. It shows how these practices can help people process trauma
Yeah,
and find a path toward forgiveness and peace.
exactly. And in Oregon, some schools have implemented daily mindfulness meditation programs
Okay.
and have seen a remarkable 50% reduction in student suspensions.
That's amazing. It suggests that mindfulness can have a profound impact on behavior
It can.
and contribute to a more peaceful and supportive learning environment.
It really does. These are just a few examples of the ripple effect of personal development on communities and society as a whole.
It's inspiring to see how these practices are being applied in such diverse and impactful ways.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it really underscores the idea that personal growth isn't just about self-improvement.
Right.
In a vacuum, it has the potential to create a ripple effect
Absolutely.
that extends far beyond ourselves.
It's about recognizing our interconnectedness
Yeah,
and understanding that our individual actions, no matter how small,
right.
can contribute to a greater good.
It's like that Gandhi quote, be the change you want to see in the world.
You got it.
It's a call to action to embody the values we want to see reflected in the world around us.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of personal development, what are some key takeaways you hope our listener will walk away with?
Well, I hope first and foremost they feel empowered to embark on their own journey
Yeah.
of self-discovery and growth. And remember,
Right.
it's not about perfection or reaching some end goal.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. It's an ongoing process of learning, evolving, and becoming the best version of yourself.
I love that. And it's important to start small.
It is.
Don't get overwhelmed by the vastness of it all.
Yeah.
Pick one or two practices
Right.
that resonate with you and start incorporating them into your daily life.
Totally.
Maybe it's journaling for a few minutes each day,
Yeah.
trying a guided meditation, or simply setting aside time for a mindful walk.
Yeah. Those are great starting points.
And don't be afraid to reach out for help when you need it.
Right.
A therapist, a trusted friend, a supportive community connection is key.
It really is.
So as we cultivate our own personal growth, let's remember the ripple effect it can create.
Yeah.
Our individual transformations can inspire others
Oh.
and contribute to a more compassionate, just, and fulfilling world for all.
Beautifully said, and I think Rumi captures this perfectly.
How so?
He said, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop."
Wow.
It's a reminder of our interconnectedness and the immense potential that lies within each of us.
What a beautiful image. So to our listener, as you continue on your journey of self-discovery and growth,
Yeah.
remember that you're not alone.
Right.
And your journey, however unique, is also part of something much larger.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into personal development.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
We hope it sparked some new ideas and inspired you to keep exploring.
And if you'd like to share your own story of how personal development has impacted your life, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep growing, and keep believing in the power of transformation.